Listen, y'all, we're going to dig in on the Suns for sure, but I got to put my hand up on this one. This one's on me for not wearing a hat today. Hello, sickos. Hello, true fans. Hello, people who are just curious about our mental health. And welcome into the PHNX Suns postgame show presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHNX365 when you sign up and find out why, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I'm Eric. That's Steven. Noah is behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen. And Gerald is out at Footprint Center. He will be calling in later on. We appreciate everybody who is joining us here on a Thursday night. Thank you all so much. New faces, old faces. Yes, I'm sorry. This one is on me. I apologize. I will be better tomorrow.
I can't even let you take this.
No, see, but your captain, like, don't take credit for it, and I'm going to. I want to thank everybody in the chat, especially Chad Leah, who says, I don't even want to watch this show beyond my morbid curiosity. I'm sure these guys don't even want to make this show.
Well, we appreciate you tapping in always. I come from the basketball sicko cloth that I will enjoy this.
What did you enjoy from today? Genuine, because right before we went live, you just shook your head, laughed, and went, "Wow, man!" And I was like, "What?" You're like, "This game." So tell me, what did Steven the basketball sicko enjoy from this game?
It's my genuine love for all of basketball. We talked about Makovic.
But everything you're about to say is going to be on the Pelican side. Am I wrong?
We also talked about Zion Williamson and his growth that he's shown. We also talked about Trey Murphy and his overall impact that we've shown. I mean, if we got to talk about the Sun side, the negatives are loud. Devin Booker's playmaking was as impeccable as it's been in tonight's game. We got to see some Ryan Dunn minutes, and we saw the impact that comes with when you give him some semblance of a leash within your main rotation. We had a good game that we got to see from Nick Richards today.
Okay, we're on the Sun side of things now.
That's what I'm saying. It's not all bad, but again, the end result, it trumps everything for the Suns because there's no margin for error. And that's why we get comments like we got to open up the show. So we appreciate all of y'all tapping in with us. Let's go ahead and get to it.
Yeah, 124-116. Suns lose. They have now won 6 out of their last 7 games. And if you go even beyond that, the record doesn't get much better. They are 27-32 overall, dropped to just 4 games above 500 at home, and they just lost to a team in the Pelicans who just picked up their 16th win of the season, and of course are without DeJounte Murray, and they just traded Brandon Ingram, and they're injured beyond that as well. Obviously, Zion Williamson had a fantastic game, his first career triple-double in the NBA, but it wasn't just Zion that was the reason why the Suns lost tonight. You mentioned Makovic, Williamson, and Misi. Do you want to know how many rebounds those 3 provided the starting front court for the Pelicans?
Without looking at the box score, it was north of 30. I know that. I'm going to just say 33.
It was exactly 30. 10, 10, and 10. The Suns got out-physicaled, out-dominated, and Steven, it feels like the playbook is out on how to beat this team consistently.
It's been there for quite some time now. You put pressure on them, meet them with some semblance of resistance. They might show that they have their own resistance for pockets of the game. But if you just continue to bring that, at some point they break. And we saw that again tonight.
Yeah, it was funny. C. Watts in the chat with a comment says, make the entire team go to ASU and get communication degrees. Yeah, the Suns were a little shorthanded tonight. Not more shorthanded than the Pelicans, but Bradley Beal, their primary Zion defender, out with left
How
calf
insane
tightness.
of a sentence is that alone?
To be fair, and you know what? Like, he actually did a pretty decent job. But it is, in theory, the same way that you're saying for these past couple of games, Bradley Beal's role in the starting lineup is to be what?
The primary defender on the perimeter. Again, this is no slight to Bradley Beal because he's put his big boy shorts on when he's been available for the team and stepped up to take these matchups for them. Going back to last season, speaking to Zion, but why is it that he has to, if there's any other more clear indicator that there's roster flaws, is that Bradley Beal has to step up and be asked to do these things. Rather than them being something that's an asset, it's their end-all, be-all.
Well, and at the same time, like, and I think the communication point is awesome, and I think that it paints a picture as to what the true problem is with this team. And it's not just that there's one of them, right? Roster construction completely flawed. We've torn that apart. Espo did a Southwest bias about James Jones, thinking he should no longer be the GM of the Suns.
Opponents have torn that apart.
And opponents have torn it apart too. Right. But they don't do themselves any favors at all, period. It's the ways that you overcome these roster flaws. You got to be strong in your communication, strong with your chemistry, your identity. At the same time, that type of stuff can make you better at your weak points if your roster construction's flawed. But if you suck at both of those things, Steven, the result's never pretty.
Yeah, and that's the problem. They just can't put it together for more than 2 and 3 and 4 minute pockets. And they find themselves in such great limbo on a near gamely basis, if not minute by minute basis, largely because of a lot of those things stemming from what you're speaking to.
Yeah. What would be your number one takeaway from tonight's game?
They just can't play defense and get the stops that they need
they
to
can't,
in a sustained manner.
As in they don't have the ability to? Or
in a sustained manner, no. They can get stops in pockets. We saw what happened when Ryan Dunn got on the court a couple of times. We saw, obviously, Royce O'Neal chipping in here and there on Zion. Obviously, KD chipping in here and there on Zion. We talked about Nick Richards to open the show. They did little things. They got a lot of initial stops. But I was speaking to you and Noah about Zion's second to none second jump.
He's insane.
And a lot of that is just multiple efforts. If you get an initial stop, that's great. Congratulations. Did you grab the rebound, though? How many times did Yves Missy, just by Zion attacking a basket, just trickle in and just get the scraps and then go back up and either score for himself or kick it out? Now they got an extra possession.
And in a vacuum, getting eaten alive, pun intended, by Zion Williamson, it's understandable. Zion Williamson, we mentioned this in our pregame show, the most double-team player in the league by a wide margin. A league that employs Nikola Jokic, a league that employs Giannis Antetokounmpo. Luka Doncic, LeBron James, right? And it's not because Zion's a bad passer. Again, had 11 assists tonight, right? So Zion is a force to be reckoned with. And Willie Green's a really good coach. But this is not a Pelicans team that the Suns, who are desperately scratching and clawing, theoretically, to stay in a play-in contention, this is not a game that they should have lost. And one of my biggest takeaways, as it just has been every single step of the way with this team, especially over the past month, is what the hell is going on with these rotations? Because Ryan Dunn played 14 minutes tonight, didn't look good. Most of it. Some good defense at the end there, but most of all didn't look good. But Colin Gillespie checked in before him. Ty Washington checked in when it was a crucial stretch, a 3-point game later in it. Tyus Jones on the floor to end the game. Grayson Allen getting 16 minutes tonight, but playing atrociously. I don't understand. And I could argue that part of the reason why the Suns are now 5 games under 500, Steven, is heavily because of solely what these rotations have looked like over the past month plus.
Some of it is guessing on the part of Mike Budenholzer because of some of the inconsistencies that he's seen from players. But a large part of that, I'll probably say 75 to 80% of that, has to fall on the hands of him for constructing the rotation and lineups that he chooses to start games with, that he chooses to end games with, that he chooses to respond to resistance from opponents with over the course and over the flow of games. That touch with the rotation that we saw early in the season hasn't surfaced from him in quite some time. And a lot of the runs that we see the Suns go up against and not be able to meet resistance with is largely due to who's on the court at the time. You got a team going on a 12, 15, 17-4, 17-6, 17-8 run. You need stops. And you come out of a timeout, and you're either going with the same lineup or an iteration of it that does not have a point of attack defender out there, nor does it have someone that's meeting somebody like Zion with resistance at the rim in terms of rim protection. That's just a microcosm of today's game. Now, if you extrapolate today's game, add it to the entire season as a whole, and you apply that context into the individual games, that's why they are where they are right now. That's a large reason why.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never been the guy to say that I know more or whatever than an NBA coach or a professional athlete or whatever. I'm good at speaking. I don't know more than them. I don't. I cannot fathom. And I know because smarter people than me have agreed with me, why the hell some of these decisions are made. To be honest with you, I'm not saying that this is what's going through his head, but it feels like sabotage. It feels intentional almost to a point. At the end of the game, when you're making these quick subs to take out Bol, who offensively for you had been great defensively, he's liable to get a couple blocks like he did tonight. Can he get lost? Sure, but will he get attacked like the pigeon that Tyus Jones is, who stayed in instead of Bol? No, he wouldn't. Why on earth are you making that switch? I genuinely cannot understand it, and not because I'm some big brain basketball mind, but it's not just the fact that it's okay, the rotations are bad, but the camaraderie feels gone. There's no chemistry. They don't have an offensive identity. Like, this is not just a coach being stubborn. Like, there is something fishy going on here, and I don't know what it is, but there's zero reason for half of the moves that he makes to happen.
There's no trust.
Tyus Jones shouldn't have started tonight.
There's no trust.
Period.
There's no trust there. And with that trust, with that lack of trust, comes a ton of instances over the course of games where it feels like the response to opponents meeting them with resistance is, here we go again, rather than putting on your blue collar and meeting it with your own type of resistance that's going to help you get back even and then get back to dictating to your opponent. They consistently play games on the terms of their opponents, very reactionary rather than meeting them or dictating to them. And because of that, we keep seeing these results while they so far are behind the 8 ball in most of these games. At what point are we going to see where early in the season you get into that matchup with the Lakers or with the Clippers and you get to crunch time, you got all these stars on the court, and a game is being played at a controlled pace that very much feels like it's on the Suns' terms because of how they're going to approach the defensive side, getting stops in a timely manner, and then coming onto the offensive end and flowing through Durant mid-post touches, Durant nail touches, Devin Booker off of isolation, slight movement into isolation, manipulating the pick and roll. How many times have we felt that in meaningful moments over the last 2.5, 3 months of games in retrospect to what we saw to start the season?
In retrospect to when they were actually good? It's been pretty different.
Exactly.
Okay, stop saying I look like somebody from Prison Break. I don't get it. One of the Prison Break characters after they broke out. You got to drop names, okay? If you're going to say I look like somebody or something so I can look up and obsess over it and decide if I'm going to crash out over it or not. Listen, we appreciate everybody who's hanging out with us. Over 400 of you in here with us right now. Have a little tease. We're going to play a game in a little bit. I'm very excited for this game. It's going to be a lot of fun. Gerald will call in from Footprint Center. We have sound from Mike Budenholzer. We have all of your super chats by the numbers. Big, bright, shining star. We're going to get to all of it after we set a like goal. Let's see here. What should the like goal be?
150.
150? We'll take 150. And Mustachio Mike, I get what you're saying, and we'll touch on that, plus so much more after our first break. Sometimes you don't want to go outside when you live in Arizona. Even if you have a really nice patio and backyard, it's just too damn hot. But you can extend your outdoor living space with a custom fit awning courtesy of our friends over at All Pro Shade Concepts. They have hundreds of designs and colors to choose from to match any home, and this is the big part, can work with your HOA for approvals. It's motorized and they can retract with a remote control, and they have LED lighting to light up your patio under the awning. Roll down patio shades block out the sun and keep patios 20 degrees cooler with hundreds of colors and durable fabric to withstand the Arizona sun. They are the most trusted local shade company, ranked #1 by Ranking Arizona for patio shades in 2024, a Better Business Bureau A+ rating with over 1,000 5-star reviews. Call 623-204-1476 or visit allproshadeconcepts.com now to schedule your free estimate. Listen, I loved what I saw out of Bull tonight, but he screwed me. He screwed me. Actually, maybe Mike Budenholzer screwed me with the subs at the end, because I was one rebound or assist away from hitting my parlay on Bet365. But guess what? I'll be back tomorrow for our pregame show, putting down some money over at Bet365. I am just one of 90 million users worldwide who love Bet365, not just because they pioneered live in-game betting or because of their early payout offers on NBA games, but also because when you're a new customer, you can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet 5, win or lose. Sign up, use code PHNX365, deposit 10, place a bet for 5, get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. That could be used on spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You must be 21 plus and physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know have a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT-STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov. Thanks to everybody joining us. Like I mentioned before, we're going to keep it chugging here. Before we get to your super chats, we do have sound from Mike Budenholzer. This is courtesy of Gerald Bourget down at no longer Footprint Center, actually, PHX Arena. Excuse me. Steven, I'm going to be very curious to hear your reaction to what Mike Budenholzer had to say to explain how the Suns have gotten to this point in the season and whether he still believes that there is belief/fight in the locker room.
Yeah, no, we haven't played well enough. We've had, stretches, where we haven't executed, whether it be defensively or offensively, and we haven't been good enough to get us through. And it's not. I wish there was one thing but it's you go and there's always small things, too many to list, and where we got to be better. So we just got to keep working at it.
You mentioned having that belief and needing that fight in the locker room. Do you still feel that from the guys?
Yeah. No, I mean, these guys, Book, Kevin, Tyus tonight playing 38 minutes. They're competing. We got to make a few more plays, both ends of the court, and get over the hump and feel that, and then try and build on it.
You can't get over the hump until you get out your own way.
They are the hump.
And he's a large part of the hump. Like, we just got done talking. Like,
dude,
we're having the same conversations over, rehashing the same stuff.
You are actually frustrated.
I am.
You are actually like
I genuinely am, because this roster has entirely too much talent to be in the depths of the Western Conference that they're in right now. And we keep hearing all of these other coaches talking about all of these other different ways in which they're going about collecting data about their team, experimenting with things in a positive manner, going against the grain with things that they seen to not work for their team, to not put themselves in the situations that put them in losing scenarios. Yeah, here we are in Phoenix watching these same scenarios repeat themselves time after time after time against different opponents that are proverbially worse than the Suns, even though the record doesn't suggest that they're that much worse, against opponents that are a lot better than the Suns, though the talent on their roster doesn't suggest that they should be. Like, how many of these different things are we going to point at without the person that should be held most accountable for a lot of them saying, like, I got to be better? And not just saying that, but actually going and showing that you're learning from the mistakes. That's the biggest thing for me. You make all these mistakes game after game after game. Team is injured. The team is healthy. Lack of touch with the rotations. Lack of touch with play calling at times. just a general lack of trust that's going on right now, and it's built up off of all of these losses. At some point, things have to change, and it's past just saying, my bad. When is the my bad going to turn into my good? I did a good job because I paid attention to the details that laid in all of my mistakes. And we're going to try some things different here because it's clear what we've been trying and what we've been attempting to do and work towards has simply not been enough.
Wow.
I
mean, you just cooked. You just absolutely cooked.
I'm not even trying to, man. Just talking about what we're seeing, and it's the same thing over and over again.
I mean, I can hear the crowd. I can hear. I mean, the people in the chat were begging for the one shot. Listen, you're gonna have to blame our PHNX Cardinals crew who took all the dang cameras to the combine. They're doing great stuff. Check out their content. They're doing awesome covering over there. But they did take our cameras. You just basically bared your soul for everybody. And I appreciate that. And knowing you, I know how bad things have to be to get you to respond like that.
Terrible,
because it's been you throughout this whole season that has helped us keep our head on straight, right? And is trying to center us and calm us down. And that's how you know how bad this season is, because they're getting to you.
I didn't even want to do it.
I know you don't. You're like a disappointed father. Like, you're not mad, you're just disappointed.
Very much so. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think the thing that made me the most mad about that sound bite is that it just doesn't sound like he cares.
And that's the biggest issue.
You sounded like you cared 1,000 times more. Could you imagine if just what we put our heart and soul into, which is, let's say, the team that we're coaching or whatever, just sucks, and we actually care. There's no world where I would ever sound like that. I get more animated over the dumbest crap that we talk about on this show than he does about his team being this bad. It's unacceptable. Show me some damn fight. Show me some damn passion. Like, show me that you give an F, Mike Budenholzer. Please. Because right now, if I listen to you speak, I would think that you don't care. Like, you get paid minimum wage to show up to a job that you hate, and you just, I don't like doing this. No, dude, you are getting paid millions of dollars to coach a winning basketball team, and you're not. And you just don't seem like you care. I am sick, and I am over it. And so are so many people who are dropping super chats. Let's get to some of those. Just a reminder, our like goal is 150. And if you want your chat read on screen, well, all you got to do is drop a super chat. We will read it. Some terms do apply. Be calm, see clearly. Mark R, always consistent with the super chats. Thanks. Mark says, Gerald said they won't, but Suns should consider trading Book. Every player on the team is tainted by the stench of this season. Mark, I don't think you're a Suns fan. I think you're just a basketball fan. And I know you know Mark a little bit more than I do. Am I correct in that assumption?
I would say Mark is a Suns fan.
Okay. I want to know.
But I think Mark can think outside that box. He can separate himself from the emotional side. Yeah.
I can't do that. I can't argue for that. I'll never vouch for that. If that was the case, then he would have had the stench from the early years when he went to the finals. But I appreciate your perspective. And if it was another team I was talking about, I'd probably have a different perspective on that. So I appreciate that, Mark. Maria with a $4.99 super chat says, these lineups make my head hurt. Someone explain Bud's rotations to me, and why is there tie minutes in a close game?
Hey, I hate to break it to you. I like to think I know a little bit about basketball. I can't explain. I can't contextualize. I can't make it make sense. Bud's rotations, I genuinely cannot.
You know, I'm sorry, something really interesting just crossed my timeline, and I'm going to ask if Gerald has this, but I want to talk about this because there is a Devin Booker quote that is, quote, and this is Dwayne Rankin. There's no video. It's just text. Sometimes you got to draw the line, and the line should have been drawn a long time ago. End quote. Devin Booker tonight. What the hell does that mean?
I don't want to speak on something that I'm not informed on.
That's why I want the full clip.
But I think it's rather obvious, just like without hearing exactly who Kevin Durant was speaking to when he was saying you need someone to guard, it wasn't hard to connect the dots. Like, imagine you're in this fire and you're one of the people that's getting most of the blame for the scenario that the team is in right now, underperforming.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not having the attention to detail from the team as a whole that's needed to get wins. And it's followed up by just underwhelming performance after underwhelming performance collectively. At some point, that's going to start to weigh on you as a player. Like I know Devin Booker is not someone that's going to overstep boundaries and things like that. That's why he has the level of respect that he does with this Suns franchise. But at some point, these finger pointing and all of the different things that are going on, there's going to be a common denominator with a lot of it. And we just got done talking about the response from the head coach.
Yeah,
it feels like things are withering now.
I'll tell you what, this is what I want to see, though. I want to see you mad. I want to see you say that this is unacceptable. Not just Mike Budenholzer, Devin Booker. And we are going to get that full quote. I'm reading some more of it.
And it's going to be more impactful if it comes from the latter than the former, for sure.
For sure. But here's the thing. We're going to play that full quote. Gerald is getting us the sound and the audio. I've read a little bit more. And what Devin Booker just did is something that needed to be done with this team a long time ago. When we play that for you, we'll revisit that conversation. Again, we're going to play a game later as well. We're going to have fun tonight, but that is some serious stuff. Teddy with a $9.99 super chat. Teddy always serious with the super chats. Says, I don't like calling grown men quitters, but no other word for it. The entire month of February, they've given up 119 plus every single game. Why is the defense awful? It wasn't this bad before.
Some of it is coaching. Some of it is effort at moments, but it feels like the effort scenarios oftentimes come where scenarios like I talked about earlier in the show that met with some resistance, and rather than them pulling up their shorts and, getting to work, it's more like, here we go again. Like, here we go again. And at that point, if that's the mentality of even one of the 5 players on the court, yet alone if it's trickling onto the bench and in the reserves as well, you're just dead to rights at that point.
Yeah. Well, when the team stops believing, which it feels like they stopped believing a while ago, and now you're seeing the impact of it, you're not going to turn any of this crap around. Trey with a $1.99 super chat says, Bud has got to go. Why was Ty starting the 4th? Agree. Be Calm See Clearly with a $2 super chat says, just say it, Bud can't adjust on the fly. 100 emoji. I mean, that's always been the criticism of him, but this is new level, Steven.
This is definitely different levels.
Like this is not the same guy who was coaching before he took his hiatus. And I hope he's okay. Like, I really hope that personally he's doing all right and whatever's going on, because this isn't the same guy.
Yeah, it's not. No.
Sebastian with the $1.99 super chat says, Beal is a nightmare. $50 million to take PTO. No shame. Is pretty stupid. It's injuries, but at the same time, it is a pattern with Beal. Play a couple games in a row, take a couple games off. Love y'all with the $2 super chat. Tyus offense less than done defense and development. Yeah.
Speaks for itself, man.
Yeah. Teddy with another super chat, $4.99 says, at this rate, Houston is not going to trade those picks for 37-year-old Trey Pound. I'm saying KD, I'm assuming. Be Calm See Clearly, $2 super chat says, yeah, well, we know. We fought hard. Yeah. Coach Bud.
Not the emoji is everything at the end of it. We appreciate you, Be Calm.
TV remote. I don't know what that currency is, but it's 100 of them. Says, is there any way to justify the Booker, Grayson, Ty Dunn, Plumlee lineup to start the 4th, especially when Zion was in the game?
And then it's the latter part for me. If you're just throwing that lineup in there to spell some minutes for KD to rest a little bit while Zion's not on the floor in the 4th quarter, whatever, you could do a much better job at lineup construction than that. But the fact that Zion's on the court and gets a switch and it's Ty Washington that's trying to guard him in the post, albeit he's giving great effort,
but still,
there's no scenario that's going to end well for the Suns in that.
No, nothing. We will have that Devin Booker sound. Gerald's working on getting that to us now. We will have the game to play. We will have By the Numbers, Big Bright, Shining Star, and Gerald live from PHX Arena. Still got a feeling this is going to be a long one. So just about 500 of you in here right now. Don't go anywhere. Hit that like button, subscribe, and we will continue breaking down in more ways than one after our second break. At least I can still do this. Because I just get to do that every show now, because NASCAR returns to Phoenix Raceway March 7th through the 9th, and the stars of NASCAR battle it out for the Shriner Children's 500 at Phoenix Raceway. Unlike the Phoenix Suns, you will see electric competition that nobody else can compare to in a beautiful 1-mile oval raceway in the foothills of the Australian Mountains, with NASCAR legends battling it out at 200 miles per hour. Bubba Wallace, Chase Elliott, NASCAR Cup Series champion Joey Logano. It's a best-in-class experience the whole family won't forget, and if you've ever been there, you know that just the drive up is enough to cement that in your memory forever. But you can also get your tickets and experience the actual race over at PHNXRaceway.com. Once again, get your tickets now at PHNXRaceway.com. And I love our reliable, dependable, always consistent friends over at Desert Financial Credit Union. And I know the Suns have betrayed me, and I've been a lifelong Suns fan, but somebody who hasn't betrayed me in my entire life, Desert Financial Credit Union. My grandparents, my parents, and myself, we've all used DFCU. We love what they were able to do with us personally, our financial solutions that they were able to tailor for us to make sure that we are hitting our goals. From the moment I first started getting my paycheck to right now in this moment, I've used Desert Financial Credit Union. And if you haven't had the luxury yet, guess what? You can get $200 just by procrastinating. Lucky you. When you open up a free checking account online right now, get $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. And you're getting those $200 from Arizona's most largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicated to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community and providing financial solutions that quite simply just make lives better. Once again, we really do appreciate the Suns community, the basketball community, who continues to tap in with us, Steven. As much as this team is super disappointing, we still get to talk basketball with some of the greatest people in the greatest community about this team, and that is still a blessing in all of this.
Yeah, I don't take none of this for granted. That's why I said what I said to open the show. I know it's kind of half joking, but at the same time, I just love basketball too much, and I refuse to allow for anything or anybody to take that away from me. Like, Lord knows it's been tested in ways with some of the things that have come up with this team this season, but we are here. We are beyond grateful, and I'm looking forward to getting back to it as we have more news that's coming through the waves.
Yeah, we have that Booker sound real quick. I want to hit 2 super chats. One from before the show that we missed from David. $10 super chat. Thank you. David says, fire Bud tonight. What the heck was that lineup at the beginning of the second? Guys that had not played together, and it showed. Next game I go to in a hazmat suit and with a bag over my head. Thank you for your super chat, David. That was $10. A different David with a $1.99 super chat saying, we can't trust Jones to rebuild. Fire him. Trade KD. Oh, we'll be diving into that as the season continues, but it seems like a line was drawn today, and that's from Devin Booker. I'm very interested to hear exactly how he sounds on this clip.
Yeah, I say, just, skipping over the details and, always taking the, get them next game mentality. At some point you got to draw a line, and should have been drawn a long time ago.
To your point about drawing that line and improving the communication and your experience with a lot of different types of teammates, what does it take to kind of build that environment, I guess?
Everybody has to be on the same page. You can starts with the leaders of the team, obviously me, Brad, and Kay, and Coach, but from my history, there's 15, 20 guys on the sideline that know the game plan, that know what's going on, and in the huddles, just constant communication.
Skipping over the details, that get them next game mentality. That's not in any capacity on any level of basketball gonna be conducive to a winning environment. Like, at all.
No.
I don't care if it's middle school. I don't care if it's rec league. Before you get to middle school, like, you're not going to win if that's the mentality that's being established, or if that's what's being brought into game plan and scenarios and going over film and all of the other intricacies that go into planning for games and planning for scouting opponents and things like that. If that's any inkling of the mindset, first of all, it matches the results that we've seen. And the frustration from him and what he's communicating to us, needless to say, is beyond warranted right now.
Mm-hmm.
Probably overdue, quite honestly. But again, with him being as respectful as he is as a franchise player.
Yeah. Listen, this should have happened a long time ago. It's not the type of person that Devin Booker is. You don't get
It's not
this type of stuff.
And that's why it rings different for me, because I can't say I've heard him speak like this.
No,
before.
I think
some time.
End of last season was the closest, and he was definitely mad. But at the same time, I think at this point, if you just look into his eyes, you can see that he's like, I didn't sign up for this crap, and he didn't. And is he part of it? Sure, but I just feel like there is so much more going on around him right now that is not in his control, and that dude says, man, that quote was a little underwhelming. I thought it would sound worse. I think you have to take it in context for how Devin Booker usually talks. And Mirage is saying afterwards it was weirder. Says they ask him about talking or is communication the fix, and he says, I always focus on myself, but I do talk a lot. I mean, we've mentioned communication. We know that there are clear problems that smart basketball people are seeing. Assistant coaches, players, so much trust is lost. And that's just so disappointing. Part of that, we're going to go back to some super chats here, but there were two more that we missed before the show. One from Michael, 199 said, curious to see starting five Netflix with KD. Inside look. I'm definitely interested with that.
I'm curious, where are they allowed to be actually involved in that as well?
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be intriguing to see it nonetheless, for sure.
And then Arton with a 199 super chat just says, I'm losing it. Yeah.
Understandably so. I hear you.
Yeah, I'm losing it too. I'm also losing it because we still have to talk about good parts of this game. And since we just talked about Devin Booker, I guess it's time to name our big, bright, shining star presented by Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details.
I'm a big, bright, shining star.
Yeah, Devin Booker had a great game tonight by himself. 36 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds, adding a steal, 13 and 29 from the field, 6 of 16 from 3, 4 of 4 from the line in 42 minutes played in regulation tonight. Steven, a good Booker game, but that doesn't make me feel anything anymore.
Yeah, that's the tough part, because it's just not resulting in wins. And if it does result in a win, it's not resulting in the sustained wins that we've grown to honestly expect with players that have the level of greatness that he's shown for the last 5 seasons now. And that's the tough part of it. It is not because of his doing, which we clearly just got done speaking to, and I'm sure we'll have plenty more to speak to over the next handful of days, if not the next handful of hours, if they don't have response to this. But yeah, Devin had another great game. The scoring, the playmaking, the balancing of both of those hats over the course of the game, dictating with those probes that we spoke to over a month ago with this playmaking, not necessarily a drive to score, but a drive to attract attention, and then playmaking off of that. There were so many three-point opportunities and makes that came from his hands, whether he shot it himself or it came from him primarily or secondarily in passing. He's great. And he's playing in that space that we expected for him to be in earlier this season for the last month and some change now.
Yeah, maybe nobody deserved the star tonight, because overall that was pretty depressing.
Well, I mean, I think I'll go ahead and say I think he did, because I feel like he had a great game.
Yeah, not the most efficient night from him, but still, I mean, 36, 9, and 7 is nothing to sneeze at.
Maybe my biggest thing in that, how many turnovers did he have today?
He had 4.
So with the volume of attention that he was seeing, all of the doubles, and how he counted them, I don't know. I just think that was a really good game from him. I think if he gets more from other segments of the team, might be looking at a different result.
Yeah.
And that's not just the players on the court with him.
Yeah.
Which is my larger point.
You
Seems
can
like the larger point of this episode right now too.
And you can paint that picture with everybody else when we take a look at what's in the box, presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union, named by Forbes.
What's in the box?
Uh-oh, here we go. All right. First thing we're going to go ahead and look at, I usually start from the bottom and work up, but let's look at the field goal attempts in this one. 94 for the Suns, 104 for the New Orleans Pelicans. And then you look past that, you look at the free throw attempts. They got, obviously, output in terms of volume there. Bench points, something that is a dictation point for the Suns in most nights, was not even close to that. And why I mentioned that they needed a good game from Grayson, he didn't have it tonight.
No.
And him not having it, in addition to Bol being put in the starting lineup, like there's a lot of impact that comes from that, because then where are the rest of the points coming from your reserves?
Royce O'Neal took 3 shots tonight. Ryan Dunn 0 for 5. Mason Plumlee 1 for 1. Grayson Allen 0 for 7. Colin Gillespie 0 for 2. Ty Washington 0 for 1.
Exactly. That's tough. And then the last one was what was the last stat we had up there, Noah?
It was points in the
It was
paint.
the points in the paint, yeah. Naturally, that speaks for itself.
Mm-hmm.
But something's got to give.
Yeah, it's our will. That's what's given. It's disgusting. Minus 22 for Grayson Allen, a minus 21 for Mason Plumlee, plus 15s for Nick Richards, Bol, Tyus Jones. They all had solid games starting. Nick Richards, 10 points, 16 rebounds. Bol, 15 points, 6 rebounds, adding 2 blocks in there as well. 15 points and 12 assists from Tyus Jones. I didn't realize he had 12 assists tonight. Tyus had a good game tonight. I still stand by the fact that he shouldn't have started, because I don't think he should start for this team, and I think you can get a similar production from him off the bench, but he did play 39 minutes tonight, and he had a good game offensively, but defensively, he's still Tyus Jones. At the end of the day, the Suns still lost, 124-116. We're going to play a game, and we're going to talk to Gerald and wrap things up on the PHNX Suns postgame show after our final break. I can't do the vroom vroom sound because it's an all-electric Jaguar I-Pace that you're getting into when you are stepping into a Waymo. Waymo is an autonomous ride-hailing service that consists entirely of an all-electric Jaguar I-Pace vehicle, providing a consistent zero-emission experience for their riders. Over 150,000 trips per week across San Francisco, Los Angeles, and most importantly, Phoenix. Waymo is the first company to serve as a fully autonomous ride with no human behind the wheel in 2015, and they have over 40 million miles of real-world driving experience. And that's enough to drive to the moon and back 80 times. If you're trying to go to spring training, God forbid you're going to a Suns game, maybe you're going to get out to ASU spring football, maybe ASU men's basketball. Also, if you like really bad basketball, maybe you're just trying to go get drunk at these games and you need a ride back. Waymo is there for you. It's real simple to get that experience of luxury in an autonomous car. Download the Waymo One app and ride today. And if you're trying to sell your home, well, I have the perfect place for you, the perfect team for you. And that, of course, is the Carol Royce Real Estate team. And if you've sold your home once before, or if you've sold multiple homes, whatever it is, Carol is the absolute right real estate firm for you. If you're selling, she's guaranteed to bring you multiple cash offers galore. And you don't just want one offer when you're selling your home. You want a bunch of different offers so you can choose the best one for you. And your home will be sold, and she'll guarantee this, at 100% of the market value, or she will pay you the difference. Listen, the Carol Royce team has been family owned and operated through 3 generations of members of the Valley of the Sun. They know this entire state like the back of their hand, and if you want to get the most bang for your buck, and if you're trying to sell your home, take the next step. Call Carol Royce or visit Carol Royce online at carolroyceteam.com. That's carolroyceteam.com. Terms and conditions apply. Once again, thanks everybody hanging out with us. Best Suns community on the planet. We are going to hear from Gerald in a little bit from PHX Arena. We have a game to play though, Steven, and I'm very excited to play this game for you. It's titled, quite simply, Real or Fake. No sounder or anything. No, can you give me a little sounder?
It's real or fake. Ba-da-do-do-do-do-do.
Oh, we are so clipping that. The premise of this game is really simple. I have compiled real tweets and I have created fake tweets from Suns fans tonight, from the game and general observations. Your goal, Steven, or the chat, is to tell me which one is real and which one is fake. Now, some of these you might have seen because some of them are from some popular accounts. Let's start it off with real or fake number one. At this point, is Suns Twitter just warring factions of teenagers debating amongst themselves as to why the individual player they've devoted their entire fandom to is not the reason the Suns suck?
That's real.
Do you know who tweeted that?
I don't know who tweeted that.
You're sure it's real?
Yes.
That is correct. That is from Scott Howard. Scott Howard on Twitter, at Scott Howard 42. I thought I'd give you an easy one to start off with, okay? Here's the second one. Who the hell is Trey Murphy, and why is this 2K creative player shooting like Steph effing Curry? Real
That sounds
or
like
fake?
That sounds like a frustrated Suns fan. I say that's real.
Noah? Well, actually, Noah, you know. I can't ask you what you think. Chat, let me know. Who the hell is Trey Murphy? And why is this 2K creative player shooting like Steph effing Curry? Real? You think real?
I think that's real.
That is wrong.
Oh, wow.
That is a fake tweet that I made up, unless somebody else put it out there. Okay, you ready for number three? We have 8, by the way, 8 to go through. Number 3.
Are we keeping track of this percentage?
You're one and one. Okay.
For sure.
Chat, I can't keep track. If you combined Bowl and Zion, you would have the best basketball player of all time.
That's fake.
Real or fake?
That's fake.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Chat, if you can combine Bowl and Zion, you would have the best basketball player of all time. You're 100% sure. No doubt in your mind. You're 100% correct. You're 100% correct. You're 2-1. That is straight off the dome. And I think it's true. No, I'm kidding. I don't think it's true. Next one. Really simple.
He said Nacho said it.
Well, Nacho might have said this one. Bradley can't heal Beal. Real
That's it.
or
That's
fake?
the tweet.
That's the whole tweet. Bradley can't heal Beal.
I'm seeing so many of those types of tweets this season. At this point, I just gotta go and say that's probably real.
Chat, Bradley can't heal Beal. You're doing good. That is a real tweet from @LukeDL86. So good job. You're what? 2-1?
3 for 4.
3-1. Look at you. Maybe I need to make these harder. Next tweet. Real or fake? @Suns. All caps.
That's probably real because
@Suns. All caps. D-Book, you are going to have to rebound tonight. Please. Need 4. That's all that's left for me to win. Please. @Devin Book.
That's real.
Chat. @Suns. D-Book, you're going to have to rebound tonight. Please need 4. That's all that's left for me to win. Please. @Devin Book.
That's real.
Okay, chat thinks it's fake. Mark says it's fake. Kev says that it's fake. Sandman says Bud said that. That's funny. Mark says fake. Gamblers sound more degenerate than that. Kev said someone said that out loud of the TV. Cody says fake but feels real. Kevo says, come on, SPG, that's Eric. Are you standing on business? You think this is real?
I think it's real.
Hey, nobody tell Steven what he should and shouldn't guess, because that's 100% real.
I stand on my own. I believe my
You are 4-1. That is from @Devin, ironic, @Devin Mabbit on Twitter. 100% real. Okay, next tweet. Real or fake? Leo says you got sentineled. Quite simply, Suns the best watch in the league if you're a hater. Real or fake?
Say that one more time.
Suns the best watch in the league if you're a hater. You're 4-1. You're on
I
fire.
think that's fake.
Chat. Suns the best watch in the league if you're a hater. Swag says fake. Kev says real with a question mark. Chillmatic says fake. Nacho says real. Mark R says fake. They're a bad watch even if you are a hater. Moses says fake. Swag says, who wrote this? A 12-year-old? No, actually, great follow on Twitter. SJ at SJ Basketball 8, who I believe you know and follow. That is directly from the mouth of SJ. That's a 100% real tweet. Suns the best watch in the league if you're a hater. Okay, next one.
She's a Mavericks fan.
Yeah.
So for that context, if you didn't know her from the 2020, was it 22? Yeah, the 2022 series.
They're going through it over there in Mavs land.
Yeah.
Mark says, I know a Mavs fan isn't taking shots. All right, next tweet. This is our second to last one. You've done great, but you got that one wrong. So you're 4-2. Okay, you do have a chance to drop to 500. I want you to remember that. Real or fake? I don't understand the Plumlee hate. Solid backup center with clear deficiencies, but can rebound and hold his own down low. Wouldn't mind him back next year on the vet min. Real or fake?
That's real.
David says this is a dumb segment. Thanks, David. Quote, I don't understand the Plumlee hate. Solid backup center with clear deficiencies, but can rebound and hold his own down low. Wouldn't mind him back next year on the vet win. Real or fake? Mark says real. Kev says real again, question mark. Chunky says real. You're going with real as well. Well, that's really wrong. That's straight off my dome, and I don't believe a single word of it.
I hope not.
But you just made this last one really interesting. This one is for David, who hates this segment. Real or fake? The Phoenix Suns, nobody wants it less. And then in a follow-up tweet, there's nothing in the world quite like a veteran NBA team that thought they were the blank when they find out they aren't. Real or fake?
That's a good question. I'm gonna side with that one was real.
The Phoenix Suns, nobody wants it less. You think it's real? Chat.
I think it's real.
Fake, real. Well, we're split in the chat. David participating now. What a comeback, David. Welcome, David. That is 100% real. Congratulations. You avoided falling down to 500 and you all survived. You're all so brave. The first ever edition of Real or Fake. We're still waiting for Gerald Bourget to call in live from PHX Arena. He's taking his sweet, sweet time because we want to have our sweet time talking about this game. Let's rip through a couple more super chats. Trey with a $1.99 super chat says, I feel Booker was speaking directly about Bud. To be honest with you, I do as well. You can't just sit down and call out your coach like that, but who's supposed to draw the line in the sand, Steven?
Yeah. And again, it's not going to be as impactful from any individual on the team. Honestly, outside of James Jones and Matt Ishbia, it's not going to be more effective if it's not coming from someone that's not Devin Booker. So to that point, I feel like he did enough with what he said without raising his voice, without acting in ways in which he's never shown to act, especially to the media in particular. So I feel like he got his point across and then some. And now it's about the and then what from the franchise.
Yeah, the and then what has been this entire season. And we've needed more out of Book this season for sure. And maybe that's on the leadership end. And if what the end of the season is going to bring out is going to be a vocal Devin Booker who is saying that this isn't okay because it's not okay in any facet from the players, the coaches, the fans don't think it's okay. I'm sure ownership doesn't think it's okay. Somebody has to say it. And I'm glad it was him. You want to read this next super chat from Cedric?
Yeah, we got a $5 super chat from Cedric Phillips. I'm totally confused at the fact that Bud continues to not go back to the starting lineup that works. He waits until the momentum is gone. Like, why? Yeah, we are right there with you, Cedric. The confusion with the rotations, the confusion with the lineups, just the confusion with, like, what's the process? What are you working towards? what are you trying to stamp as an identity with this team? Like, there's just a looming question mark with this team. And a large portion of that stems from him and his decision-making and the lack thereof with the tactical side of things.
Yeah. We have some Kevin Durant sound that's going to be coming your way in just a couple of minutes. This team just like has my brain in like a million different places on all the things that I want to say. We'll just keep reading super chats. Be calm, see clearly with a $2 super chat says, if Mason is back, somebody getting karate chopped.
And B Will has a $2 super chat saying that Grayson is the worst defender on the Suns. I'll say he's probably the worst defender in the main rotation. And that's up for grabs if Tyus Jones is.
I'm about to say, I don't know.
Though.
He's not the worst in the main rotation.
He's not as
bad as Tyus.
He's not as bad as Tyus, but
second.
He's very like he's
Ball.
He's borderline 1B. Nah, Ball's not that bad because the thing with Ball is he can make up for his mistakes with his blocks and deflections and things like that. That's not something that either one of those two can make up.
I think Grayson's defensive IQ is the highest out of the three.
I think that's a conversation to be had.
Sure.
But at the same time, you can't just get blown by as often as we've seen Grayson. And again, it's not like they're just in such a bad position because they're not being helped by the lineups that they're playing.
And you shouldn't be asking Grayson to be one of your best defenders.
And that's my point. It's no different than me saying that Bradley Beal as the main point of attack defender, especially for starting lineups causes, makes sense. Like it just doesn't. And they can only be so good because they're not all plus defenders. And if you put them in scenarios where they just can't be at their best, they're only going to give you a certain level, and that level is going to be low.
Yeah. We have a couple of people saying Royce O'Neal in the chat also. Oh, no, never mind. Yeah, Mario replaces that and says Grayson, not Royce. So, yeah.
Well, Royce is still not a bad defender.
So we have some Kevin Durant sound.
Yeah.
That I have not heard or seen anything of, but I just see the question. This is one of two clips. We have one ready now. We'll get the other one ready in a second. This is Kevin Durant on Mike Budenholzer saying the Suns need to stay optimistic.
Kevin Bud was saying it's key to stay optimistic right now. How easy or difficult is it to stay optimistic last 10 to 12 here?
I don't want to say the wrong thing and people take it out of context. So I'm going to just agree that we just got to be better.
You can hear it. You can hear it in their voices. You can see it in the demeanor. Dudes are fed up. They don't trust what's being game planned in terms of how they're being asked to go about approaching games. The trust is gone. Like it was already gone, but it's evaporated. It's evaporated among many other things.
Oh my gosh! I mean, can we play that? Can we play that again? Let's play. I just want to listen to that again.
Kevin Bud was saying it's key to stay optimistic right now. How easy or difficult is it to stay optimistic last 10 to 12 here?
I don't want to say the wrong thing and people take it out of context. So I'm going to just agree that we just got to be better.
If you're listening on audio, you should come over to video for that and watch Kevin Durant's body language. Again, I'm not the body language doctor. I'm not Bill Simmons. But I would have to be blind to not see his visceral reaction, almost wanting to pull his beanie down over his head when he got asked that question, Steven.
Yeah. Yeah, the frustration point is boiling all the way over because they're just so far below what they even perceived as their floor right now. And that's where they've resided for more points of the season than they haven't. It's out of control at this point.
Yeah, it is out of control. I mean, listen, we've had Devin Booker drawing a line in the sand. We've had Kevin Durant, post-game comments looking very frustrated. we have not seen this level of emotion from this team yet. I think they just hit their boiling point. By the way, if you're watching on TV, we appreciate you so much. We really do. Make sure you check out gophnx.com. The party always continues over there. Gerald is doing his due diligence. He is setting up now, and he is on in a few. Do we have the second Kevin Durant video, Noah? Okay. So this is Kevin Durant on whether he still senses fight in the Suns.
Most definitely. I feel like everybody wants to win. I feel like everybody's pissed off. When you see bad body language, I mean, people care. You know what I'm saying? And guys care in this locker room. I can tell they pissed. Pissed. We having conversations amongst just ourselves sometimes. Obviously, we had conversations with the coaches and our individual coaches, but when we had that dialogue amongst ourselves, we try to figure out what's the best way for us to move forward. We got suggestions, ideas, and when guys still keep that energy around communicating, that shows that guys still want to figure this thing out. So I'm confident in our group that we'll come out tomorrow with a sense of urgency and be better.
The bad body language means that guys care, and that's kind of what my response to this was going to be. And in his own way, he went and said that. And I think that's very much true, but see where the body language and where you're seeing the emotional reaction that you were saying that you wanted to see, which subsegments of the team is coming from versus which ones is leaving more to be desired from.
The body language?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's coming from all of them, honestly.
But it's coming, it feels like you were saying, you feel like you wanted to see that more from Bud than you actually saw.
Oh, sure.
But from the Devin Booker and Kevin Durant so far that we've seen.
You would prefer to see body language and anger and passion out of your coach 2.5 weeks ago so that you don't get to this point with your players.
Correct. I would just rather see it in game plan adjustments and not going through the same issues and process that do not breed success.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best response for me. I don't care about all the slamming the table, ripping papers, punching clipboards. All that is cute. But if it's not coming with the correct response and process.
I mean, that's what I'm saying is I want that if it gets people going. But you also can't, and this is, I think, something that Frank Vogel kind of learned the hard way last season, is you can't just up and change your coaching style halfway through the season. You can't be a guy who's chilling, doesn't really care that much, and then goes out and starts screaming at everybody. Mm-hmm. It's just not the same.
But I think that's a part of being a good coach is being preventative. Mm-hmm. Understanding when things are not trending in the direction that your team is desiring for it to be and staying ahead of the curve.
I'll tell you what, our show is trending in a direction that everybody desires it to, because guess what? For the first time in what feels like 18 months, it's time for Girth.
In the darkness, beyond the light, there shall only be one. Welcome to Girth!
That's right. It is time for From the Home Court, a no longer named home court, presented by the Carol Royce team, your home sold guaranteed realty, where Carol will guarantee the sale of your home for 100% of market value, or she'll pay you the difference. Learn more at carolroyceteam.com. All smiles, psych, he's frowning. It's Gerald Borgay live from PHX Arena for the first time this season, no longer Footprint Center. Oh, I saw all the post-game sounds you sent, Gerald. Everybody seems really happy.
Yeah, the vibes are high, immaculate, one would say, and everything's going great. How are you guys?
Peachy. What was your biggest takeaway from everything you heard post-game?
I mean, I wasn't on the road, so I can't attest to what the mood in the locker room was like after the Raptors loss, after the Grizzlies loss, but this one felt pretty bad in terms of, I don't want to say make or break, because we should have been at make or break weeks ago already, but, you heard Devin Booker talking about drawing a line in the sand, Kevin Durant in the locker room, saying, I don't want what I'm saying to be misconstrued, so I'm just going to say we got to play better. Not in a good place at all. Like this is a bad team. We know this already. They're now 5 games below 500, and no one can seem to give a good response as to why this team is where they is right now. But I genuinely don't know what to tell you. The vibes are terrible around here.
Gerald, does this feel like this is one, if not maybe the boiling point for this Suns team this season?
Yeah, I hope so. I think so. I asked Kevin Durant in the locker room about whether the team still had fight, whether he still sensed that. Him and Bud both said that they sense it. We have yet to see it on the court in a tangible way that leads to actual wins. I don't think these guys hate each other. I don't think that they're, not trying out there, but they're not good defensively. They don't communicate well. That was something that Booker continued to harp on in his post-game presser. He said that, the story of our season has been not executing our game plan. And that's a problem. He's always talked about the attention to detail. And when he was asked how much of that do you kind of put on yourself as one of the leaders of the team, he was saying, yeah, I always look at myself, but, I also talk a lot in reference to the communication. So it's pretty clear that there's a lot of finger pointing behind the scenes, even if it's not public. And this team is just not in a good place right now.
On the court tonight, Gerald, the Suns, of course, left a lot to be desired, and they have to play the Pelicans again tomorrow. Do you think that plays into the Suns' favor for fixing things, or does that just make it worse?
I don't even care. They lost to the Pelicans. I genuinely, it's one of those things where, cool, you bounce back and you beat a team that you should have beat both times handily. Look at all the players that they were missing tonight. Like, they traded Brandon Ingram. They had no DeJounte Murray. They were missing Herb Jones. They were missing Kelly Olynyk. They were missing, I think, 7 players tonight. And the Suns, yeah, they were missing Bradley Beal, but I'm sorry, if you can't beat the Pelicans without Bradley Beal, which you can't, we're looking at a season, which is what we're looking at, where they're going to miss the play-in. Like, this is horrendous all around. This is a failure on every front possible. And it's hard to watch. So, if they bounce back against the Pelicans, great. Who cares in the long run?
Is it even a bounce back if they win tomorrow? Like, genuinely,
no.
If they win by 30 tomorrow, does anybody care?
No, only in the technical definition of the term, in terms of you lost and then you won. That's the only way you could view it as a bounce back, because this team is just so far gone right now. You're at the point where you are trying to string things together before the off season just to evaluate what you have and figure out what direction you're going to go in. But this team feels like it is bleeding out, and it is just slowly inching towards death. And that death is April 13th, about 2 months away still.
That's a long time.
It is a long
and
time.
You speak of the end of the season. Well, Gerald, the Suns are now 3.5 games out of the play-in. They're only 1 game ahead of Portland and 2 games above San Antonio. I know we just asked you if this is the boiling point, but what do you think happens if this just keeps getting worse?
I think Houston gets a pretty nice lottery pick. Is what I think. I don't know what to tell you. It's a very weird situation that you're in, where another team has your draft pick. That this group is all in, that they have the highest payroll in NBA history, not just in the league this year, in NBA history. And you're looking at a situation where you are not even going to make the play-in with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. I mean, that's just insane. It's demoralizing on all fronts, especially like Bradley Beal had been playing great basketball, but of course he goes down with another injury, and we don't know when he'll be back after this. So it's just so demoralizing on all fronts. I don't know what I can offer Suns fans right now in terms of hope or hopeful news. Hopefully we will see more Bol and Ryan Dunn and cling to that, like that's the floating door after the Titanic has sunk. But I don't know what to offer you guys right now. I'm sorry. This season has been one to forget. It's been one of the most miserable that I've ever covered, and that's coming from someone who was here for the 17-win seasons, who was here for Eric Bledsoe, I don't want to be here, and Earl Watson being fired 3 games into the season, who was here for getting stomped by 48 on opening night against the Blazers. This is horrendous. There's no sugarcoating it.
I was actually in the building that night when they lost to Portland by 48 points. That was the 50th season, 50th anniversary season for the Suns, and they almost lost by 50 on opening night. And for some somehow, some way, I still found more joy then. Gerald, any final thoughts? I know you basically said you've got nothing but great coverage at Gerald Bourget. I just knocked the basketball over. Things are going great.
Sheesh, bruh.
This is why Stephen carries a basketball with him.
Problem solvers, not problem identifiers. We need a whole lot more of those.
You got it. Any final thoughts, Gerald?
No, man. We're going to post all the post-game sound. I encourage you guys to go through and listen to it. Again, like Bud and KD and everyone, they keep talking about how they're going to fight and how they still have belief. Show us. Like everybody said all the right things in post-game. Show us now.
They won't, but we're going to watch. I know we will. And you can follow along at Gerald Bourget on social media. And, of course, all of his fantastic work over at GoPHNX.com. Thank you, Gerald.
Thanks, guys.
All right. I think we have a couple super chats before we round out here. Let's get those knocked out. Mike from Mesa with a $1.99 super chat says, Booker defense sucks also.
Yeah, he's left more to be desired on the defensive end of the floor this season more often than not. But what I will say, and this is not to give him an alibi or to scapegoat him in any capacity, for one, the lineups that he's been featured in have not been to help him be the best defender that he can be. He's been tasked with guarding a lot of bigger type of wings this season. That's not his forte in terms of the matchups that he's seen success guarding against in his career. And then the other thing for me is that he's also been the most, I would say on volume, the best communicator.
Yeah.
He's never not communicating with his teammates, whether he wants to be the low man or if he feels that Kevin Durant or Royce O'Neal should be the low man within their defensive rotations. He's loud with his help. He might not always be there in personnel in terms of him actually being in position to do so, to execute at times, or off the ball, obviously losing track of his man and getting backdoored or getting cut behind for offensive rebounds. That stuff happens, absolutely. But I think there's value in him being a communicator, and that's not to scapegoat him at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying that even with him leaving more to be desired on that end, his communication has helped.
We've seen him hit really high highs defensively,
sure.
especially in the playoffs, and with Kevin Durant as well. We haven't seen that this season. Some of that is individually put on him, but you're right. You know, you're in a bad situation. You're guarding up all the time, and you've got Tyus Jones out there. Bol can make up for mistakes, but isn't a great help defender. Nick Richards has poor defensive moments. Kevin Durant's good, but sometimes Book's on the court, KD's not there. Or you're playing with Grayson Allen or undersized Royce O'Neal.
And Tyus Jones
You're
at
not,
the same time.
You're not playing with Ryan Dunn, right? Like you're getting put in bad situations if you're Devin Booker, but you're also not doing much individually to help that. So again.
And that's why there's no person that was absolved of blame in any capacity for where the team is right now.
Yeah, and that's coaching, that's roster building, and that's stars and players performing. Speaking of stars, one of our stars in our super chats, B. Combs C. Clearly with a $2 super chat, just only talks ball now, which I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's how you know you got us down bad.
Says, what the heck was that? Just say it, cuz damn, bud, ain't it? That is in response, I believe, to Kevin Durant's soundbite. And then another super chat, B. Combs C. Clearly just sent in, says, Adele, set fire to the rain for the rest of the season. Flaming heart emoji.
Or you can also say rolling in the deep.
Rolling in something else. Tell you that. Oh, we are still
That's
holding
tough.
over 400 strong. We've almost hit our like goal. We've played games. We've named our star. We've looked at the numbers. We got girthy. We've cried. Don't look at me like that. You know exactly what I meant. You know exactly what I meant. You ain't never looked at me like that, and I've said way worse things on this show. Anything else? Any final thoughts, Steven, on what was a girthy post-game edition of PHNX Suns? Long one. It's been a long one, an hour and 15.
If there's anything to look forward to, and it does not guarantee that a win is coming tomorrow at all, but Zion doesn't play the second night of back-to-backs.
It's just going to make it worse when they lose.
So, I'm just saying. That's something to look forward to because that is the main pressure point for them that the Suns likely won't have to worry about tomorrow. Does that mean they're guaranteed to win? Not at all. I'm just saying that that's something that should bode in favor of them tomorrow. But as we've grown to understand with this team, nothing is guaranteed at all. So we'll see about it.
I'll tell you what, I'll do my part tomorrow. I'll do what I need to change on the second night of a back-to-back.
Adjustments.
Yeah, sorry. I won't wear my glasses. I won't wear any color besides black, and I'll put a hat on for you. Okay.
You gotta throw the
is
shorts
that
on too.
is that gonna make everybody happy?
You gotta
Is that
throw
what
the
we
shorts
need?
on too.
Oh, it's got to be the shorts?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe I could do that. Put that away. There was nothing even to do with that. Okay? Nothing even to do with that. And guess what? You're just going to make me call him Booger Boy just out of spite now, just for showing that, Noah. But we appreciate Noah
That man is wild.
behind the Mac making all of the magic happen. Thanks to chat. All of you are helping us get closer to our like goal during the live show. And of course, all of you who are joined us on YouTube afterwards. And thanks especially to everybody who's hit that subscribe button. Our march towards 40K continues. We're just about to hit 37K. So many of you have already hit that subscribe button. Join the best local sports coverage that you could imagine right here at PHNX Sports. I mentioned it earlier. Cardinals out of the Combine. ASU and U of A about to cover spring football. U of A is good at basketball. ASU is not. We're covering both of those with post-game shows. And, of course, I am on the ASU show. Diamondback spring training in full swing. You can check that out with Derek. He's doing a wonderful job in our Reimagined Diamondback show. Of course, Mercury News continuing. Alyssa Thomas, intro presser. Diana Taurasi is retired in case you missed it. Steven and Erica have you covered on that front.
We'll be back next week with another episode for y'all.
And if you're a real sicko and you love the Phoenix Rising, well, guess what? We got fellow sickos for you here, and that's all right here on PHNX Sports. And if you're not a diehard, become a diehard today. Go phnx.com/join. You can join our diehard Discord where we're talking hoops all the time, or football, or baseball, or ASU, or U of A, or Rising, or Mercury, whatever it is. We're talking about it on our Discord. Plus, you get exclusive shows like PHNX Puffs presented by Colt Cannabis with me and my friend Kevin, who is also a producer and host here, where we indulge in some Colt Cannabis and hang out with you, our lovely diehards. Also on GoPHNX.com, Gerald's wonderful work, Steven's wonderful work. If you're missing Espo, which we all do, he's very busy with GM work and making sure that we still have lights to turn on and live streams to do. You can check out Southwest Bias. He's taken over that, reimagined that as well. Incredible episode earlier this week on the Suns. He believes it is time for them to move on from James Jones. If you agree or disagree, either way, highly recommend you checking out Southwest Bias. He also did one on Cardinals as well. But as for us, that wraps it up tonight on Thursday. Just like the Suns, we'll be back with a back-to-back pregame show tomorrow, post-game show along with that, and so much more. But I promise I'll be wearing a hat. And you can follow the show at PHNX_Suns. You can follow Steven at StevenPG3. Of course, that is Steven with a PH because he balances us out, considering he is still wearing his version of headwear that I have abandoned today. And you can follow me and tell me to put my hat back on at ERIKRUBY. And I don't have an outro because I don't want to say something and get in trouble because you guys take it out of context.
We all silly like the mayor.